There's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. Welcome to The Bleeders, a podcast and support group about book writing and publishing. I'm writer and podcaster Courtney Kosak, and each week I'll bring you new conversations with authors, agents, and publishers about how to write and sell books. Today, we are celebrating the new year with 7 tips from authors who have offered writing advice on this podcast that has stood the test of time and really stuck with me ever since their initial interviews. And I picked these tips because I think they're going to help you orient yourself towards having your best writing year yet. So, first up is Halley Sutton with a piece of writing advice I think we all need to hear.
First drafts are bad. They're always going to be bad, and you just have to get through it. I really think that a big part of writing is like being able to endure the terrible first draft to just get to the point where you're making it better and it starts to feel like something you love. Because for so long, particularly with the second book, it just was like, felt so bad. And all you can do is just sit there and tinker with it and make it better. But like you have to keep working on it. Otherwise, you can fix anything but the blank page. And so I have to keep reminding myself of that over and over and over.
Yes, there is nothing wrong with a shitty first draft. That is just part of the process, baby. Tip number 2 is a brilliant book writing hack from Hannah Howard.
As I was feeling daunted by this big, I think my contract said 60,000 words. I believe Feast is like 75,000 words, which is pretty much like a medium-sized book. It just sounds like a lot of words, 75,000 words. But I was really good at writing 1,000-word essays. So I told myself I just have to write 75 1,000-word essays. And of course, that's not exactly it.
That's a good hack, though, mentally.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have honestly thought about this so many times since I interviewed Hannah. It's exactly right. Exactly how she said it. It's just bird by bird, 1,000 words at a time. That is it. That is all book writing is. And I think when you think about it like that, it is totally attainable and it takes kind of the overwhelm away. Okay, tip number 3 comes from Bridgette Bianca, who just spits the truth always and forever. What is one piece of writing advice you wish you could give your former self?
Ooh, I thought about this long and hard. I came up with a 3-word answer. Okay.
Oh.
Fuck everybody else. That is my answer. That's the advice I would give myself because I gave a lot of fucks about other people back in the day. And if I had just known, fuck everybody else, things would have gone so much better for me.
Yes.
And now I'd have to remember that. And I need to put a sticky note behind me. Fuck everybody. Or I'll make it a little bit more parent friendly. Forget everybody else on the wall behind me so I can remember.
That is a good one. I think this is such a good reminder on so many levels. It's like, yes, keep your eyes on your own paper, get obsessed with your own work, and don't let anyone throw you off track. And it sort of echoes tip number 4, which comes from Shelby Hinte, whose book Howling Women actually comes out this year.
I mean, I think definitely that I'm a person who has to do it most days a week. If I get too far away from it, it ends up feeling really scary to me. But if I can do, even just 30 minutes a day, but ideally an hour a day, 5 or 6 days a week, then it doesn't become something bigger than it is. So I do like to have I'm pretty strict with myself about daily practice, but also the fun element. I have to really work super hard not to think about other people while I'm in draft mode. I definitely have people I am writing to, people who I'm like, oh, I can't wait for them to read this. And they're going to laugh at this joke or whatever. And that really helps me with voice stuff. But in terms of publishing, I have to really not think at all about what's going to happen next. Otherwise it becomes, just unbearable, not fun. And I write because I think it is a super enjoyable activity and I don't want to corrupt it.
Tip number 5 comes from prolific indie queen Chelsea Martin, and her advice offers a clue into how she's able to be so prolific in the first place.
I think there's like two kinds of people who are like really in a hurry to publish, and people who want everything to be perfect and have their perfect publisher and their perfect huge advance and just wait forever for that. And so I think like kind of trying to avoid both of those extremes and just doing the best thing that you can do for yourself in a reasonable amount of time, and then moving on to your next project and like moving on with your life.
Tip number 6 is from Emmy Olea, and this one has definitely been on my mind as I have a really exciting book-related podcast project that I am working on early in 2025. I'm really excited to share more details about this with you shortly, but for now, here's the tip.
When I finished writing the book, I started writing the book proposal. I started collecting testimonials from friends. I got a testimonial from Robert Morse, Russell Brand, my friend Beck Cohen. I got a testimonial. Yeah, no, well, I had met Russell through mutual friends. And so we just kind of had a little bit of rapport. And I shared with him that I was writing a book. He had gifted me one of his books. And so that's how it just started. And then I asked my friend Utkarsh Ambudkar to write a testimonial for me. He's also an actor. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, Emmy, do you mind if I pass this along to a friend of mine who would be riveted to hear your story?" And so the book proposal had sample chapters. It did not have the whole manuscript, obviously. But then Alex Fumero called me and said, "Hey, would you like to do a podcast? I see something really, really good here, and it could be a great topics for a podcast." So I thought about it, because being a podcaster, even being a writer, was not something that was in my horizon. Like, I did not ever see that me becoming that. So I thought about it, and I was very nervous, and I said, "You know what? Sure, let's do it." You know, one of my mentors always taught me, when the universe presents you with opportunities, always say yes.
And last but not least, tip number 7, lucky number 7 from Elle Nash.
One tip for writers trying to get a book published.
I would say don't spray and pray when it comes to doing queries, but also the number one predictor of success in publication is perseverance. It's not talent.
And she is so right. Just keep going, Bleeders. That is all you need to do this year. Keep going, keep working on your writing, keep making it a priority, and you will find your way. That is for sure. You're going to have a great year. I'm going to have a great year. We're all going to have a great year. And I am going to keep bringing you episodes that will help us get there. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of The Bleeders. Writing is so much better with friends. I'm your host, Courtney Kosak, and hey, let's connect on social media. I am at Courtney Kosak, last name Kosak, on Twitter and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else on the socials. And make sure you're signed up for the Bleeders Companion Substack. I publish so much great stuff over there. Much of it is exclusive to the newsletter, and it is free to subscribe. And if you want to upgrade to a paid subscription, I actually just posted a 1-hour Manifesting Your 2025 Writing Goals workshop, which is freaking awesome, if I do say so myself. It really will get you ready for the new year. It is one of my favorite workshops I've put together. There is a link for that in the episode description. I also have links to many of my other upcoming workshops that are separate from the Substack, also in the episode description. And join me again next week for another all-new episode. In the meantime, happy bleeding!